everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and I'm back and we're going to continue working on Home Sweet Home. And so when the last time we were together, we constructed the box, we got our magnets in, and I made a mess, and I want to tell you what I did, just so you can learn from my experience. I tried the magnets on top here, and then I realized, it's not sitting as flush as I'd like it to. So I tried to put the magnets on the inside, and it's just too thick to go through, so then I wound up moving them again. And it's okay, because I'm going to cover this with a mat, so I just want to share that with you. So I already went through that process and realized it wasn't going to work for me, so don't bother with it. While I was away, I went ahead and trimmed out the pieces that I'm going to cover the box with, so we're going to go ahead and get started with that. We'll get the box covered, and then the last thing we're going to do is, second to the last, is install our file folder, and then we'll do some embellishing, okay? And then because this is not laying quite as flat as I'd like, I might consider using this and adding an additional magnet to the front and back of this, but I haven't decided yet. So what I do know for sure is the back is going to be this red, and I'm going to keep the decoration on the outside of the box very simple so that I can add embellishments. And I think I've got everything inked, so this is going to go on the back. Got my glue. Now, what I would recommend, having done this now, because you have so many pieces that have been joined together, it's really hard to get perfect right angles. This is pretty good, but it's not perfect. So my recommendation would be, once you get it together and you place your magnets, rough cut your paper and then lay it down and trim it to fit. You'll be much happier with the result. Like I said, because you've got so many moving parts, it's really hard to get complete right angles and to have it be perfectly square. Okay, I'm going to need some more glue here in a minute. Might have to take a break and do a refill. Anyway, I feel like it's been forever since I've done a project, and I'm sure you guys feel that way too. Like, where have you been? I've been under something very heavy. First COVID, and then homeschooling my teenager, which we are thankfully on summer break, and he did really good. I'm so proud of him. We wrapped up the year. The way they organized it, they couldn't lower their grades, but they could improve their grades, and he did. And so I'm very proud of him. So the year ended very well, but it was quite the challenge, I must say. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to use this. This is just the flip side of the red. I'm going to place it here. And I'm a little bit blurry-eyed, so I got to double check. I think I need a contrast sheet so I can better see the edge of that panel. And along with, oh, I know, I'll use this. Along with all the remodeling that's going on, my craft room has become sort of the staging area, so I can't find anything in here right now. So it looks like I need to take a little bit more off. I'm going to do that. So it needs to be a little less than 2 inches. And this should do it. I'm going to add some ink, and we'll glue this down. This is one of my favorite patterns in the collection. I think it's really pretty. I like the red too because it's very homey, and it just makes me think of a kitchen. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, and I mentioned in the last time I was recording, I'm not sure I'm going to separate the videos, but the last time I was recording, that I had used the large magnets, and I really recommend that you do that. Okay, now I need to trim this down to fit, so I'm going to go ahead and sit down now and take a look at this and see where I need to trim it. Let me try that. hopefully everybody is doing well. I know it's been tough staying home and in quarantine. Things are just now starting to open back up in San Diego. So that's kind of exciting. My son's actually going to go to the beach on Friday, so I'm excited for him. And our restaurants are starting to open it up again, which is great. That's one of the things I really enjoy doing with my husband. We are just old retired people, so we like to go to either late lunch or early dinner, and we have our favorite spots. Anyways, we were able to go to one of our favorite restaurants the other day, and it was so nice to see the staff there and that they're doing well. I was kind of worried that we might lose some people, as well as some restaurants just not open back up, but so far things look good. Okay, so I think this is what I'm going to put here, and this is just a cut apart from one of the pages, and I kind of picked it because it just fits so perfectly. So that's kind of the reason I'm planning on putting it here. So as you recall, we've got this add-on piece, that double layer to help this all fit together nicely and more flush than if we just had a single layer. You'd really see a big change here if we just had it on top of this, and I don't really like that look. So let's go ahead and cover this up, and I'm going to slide it slightly behind the layer here, and I think it's trimmed the right length. Let me check. Yes, it is. So I'm going to get some glue and we'll lay this down. So I'm kind of playing with the idea of doing a second project with this paper. So there's one of two things that we can do. We can cover, sorry, I'm having to focus on what I'm doing. We can cover the fronts and backs of all the inserts. That's one of the options that we have. Or we can do another separate small project, which that's kind of what I'm thinking of. But I'm not going to make that decision until I get at least all the fronts of this covered. So that's going to go like that. I like that. I think it looks good. So we're also going to lay something on here, and then that's going to be, we still have to do our top piece. So I managed to use one 6 by 12 inch to cover this. I'm not going to cover the bottom, or at least I'm not planning on that right now. And I was planning on putting the red on top, and then I had these two pieces from the cut apart that I'm thinking about using, but I'm looking at that right now to make a decision. All right. See if it'll spread. And of course I got tons of paper left. I can choose something else, but part of the reason I was trying to be frugal was because of what I was saying. I was thinking about doing a second project with this single DCE pack. So I'm sorry, I'm fussing. I'm trying to see if this is going to be enough paper to cover the top, or if I need to do something else. And I think it's going to work like so. Yeah. So I'm going to put the tiny strips down first, and it looks like I need to trim just a little bit off each edge. So I'm just going to lay it down here and use this as my guide. And I can see I need to trim it right there. Put a little pencil mark. And I'm going to stack them and then just do one trim. Or try. Anyway, so I'm kind of curious. I'd like to hear from you guys in the comments. Are you guys getting back to your regular craft routines? Is anybody going on crops or retreats? What's going on in your neck of the woods? We currently have a crop retreat. I call it a crop retreat because it's really just a crop, but it's over 3 days, so it is kind of like a retreat. Scheduled for November. It's still on the books, and I think it's going to happen, but I'm just curious what other people are doing right now. Let me know. I know Janet in Australia is busy crafting because I'm getting word from her occasionally on her projects, and it seems like she's at least getting together with her friends. I don't know if she's getting out or if she's spending all her time at home crafting. And I would love to see you in November if you're down here for your family anyway. I love little thin strips like this, but man, they're hard to put in without making a mess. Fortunately, art glitter dries clear. Okay, now I've said this in many videos and I'll say it again. When you're working with small pieces like this, you always want to put the small piece in and then add the larger piece. Much easier to trim that larger piece to fit. You can't really trim these any thinner than they already are. You can hardly even hang on to it. So, and then once this is in, it's going to be easy for me to center the red piece between the two strips. That is a design tip. It's really more of a construction tip, I guess. Oh, the construction's been going on forever in my house, and I'm thinking we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm so excited. I think they're coming to do touch-up tomorrow. We might actually finish this week. I'm so excited. We started all this before COVID, and one of the things we did was remodel our bath. And then that stretched into, and you know, it's like a thread, you pull on it. We have a 20-year-old house. Then we decided, well, if they're going to remodel our bath, we should go ahead and do the closet. So that they started that, and then COVID happened. So the bath got finished, but the closets didn't. So I have been living out of a shoebox for 3 months, waiting for these guys to come back because I don't want to put everything back in my closet just to take it all back out again. Anyways, I think they're going to be done this week. I'm going to be able to move back into my bedroom completely. I'm excited. It'll be like having a new house again. Okay, there we go. So very simple cover. I'm going to add some embellishments. That's why I wanted to keep the background pretty simple. And then I went ahead and fussy cut this off. Oh, hey, sorry about that, jumping around. I forgot to turn off my Wi-Fi, and the carrier sent me a message. I was afraid I didn't record everything, but I think I did. Anyways, we finished wrapping this, and I was sharing with you that I fussy cut this from the signature page from the DCE, and then I matted it black. And my plan is to mount it here on top of this flap and just have it slightly overlay on the bottom. Okay. And I'm just going to center this. And it's just, like I said, black cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and use my ruler to see my center line, which is right there. So my rule, what I'm doing is trying to find the center, which is right here, but I want to lay it in so that the suite, it runs along the bottom of the panel, just like that. So it's almost like a straight line on the bottom. Right on the edge of the flap, I mean. Okay, so that's in. Now I'm just going to press that into place. Now I talked about possibly putting another magnet here, and if I was going to do that, it should have been under here, and I didn't do that, so I don't think I'm going to go ahead with that. So we're going to leave it just like so. So I'm going to do some additional embellishing, but I think I'm going to do that offline. But what we do need to do now to finish the build of the book is we're going to add the centerpiece, which is going to go in here. Oops, nope. Back up. We still got to cover this. So let me find a piece of paper to go here. And I think I'm going to use this, which is the back side of what we saw, which is also on the lid. So I think it's 2 inches, but I'm going to check it. 2 inches, yeah. So let's trim that out really quick. 12, 10. I don't like that. I'm just looking at where the pattern's landing and trying to decide which end to cut from. Okay. I forgot about this. Okay, so there we go. That's going to go right here. And it's necessary because we want to hide those magnets. There's a bunch of tape stuck on the end of my tool there. Okay. All right. And we'll get a little ink on this. Somebody asked in one of my videos, what am I using? This is called, these are called powder puffs by a company called Quick Quotes. And I found these originally at like an expo where they have those at convention centers. We carry them in our store now. I don't know if they sell retail or not. I know you can find them at convention sales, but I'm not sure they have a retail store or a retail online. But anyway, you can get them from us. And I typically only use browns. I had tried using all different color inks, and I wind up always going back to just browns. So I'm just going to stick with that. And then it's kind of universal. They can also be used with stamps. I'm not a stamper, but you can also use these with stamps, so which might be a reason why you would want more colors than brown. So, okay, so now that's in. Okay, so there's our box. When you open it up, that's what you're going to see. Oops, I left this open because I thought I might put a magnet under it. Let's glue it down. I'm just gluing it to its black mat. There we go. Now we're ready to put this in. So we're going to center this. This is the bottom right here. We're going to center it on the bottom. And then we're going to adhere this panel to the cover. And we're going to do it by raising the cover. Not by pulling this down, but by raising the cover. You can do this with tape or with glue. And I'm not feeling especially confident right now, so I'm going to use glue. And I am going to make a glue box like so. Now I'm coming up to this hinge, but I'm not going to go into it. So I'm going to come close, but I'm not going to come into it. I'm going to hold it there. I'm going to make sure it looks even on both sides. And then I'm going to raise the front. And I'm going to press this into place. Like so. Okay, now I'm going to give that a few seconds to dry. And I'm also going to use my bone folder. I'm going to use my skinny one and go up and down and across to make sure it's grabbing everywhere. I think this is a cute project. It's fun, it's easy. You have enough paper to do two or one and a different project, which, like I said, I haven't decided what I'm doing yet. Okay, is it grabbing? Yes. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to do a glue box, and then we're going to stand it up, and then we're going to pull it across, and then we're going to lift this up. So that's how that's going to work. Okay. If you have a clip, this would be a good time to use a clip because it wants to pull back. So you're going to have to hold it in place. Okay, I'm gonna give that another second, and then I'm gonna go away and find another clip. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I got my clips. They're tiny, but I think they're big enough. Now we're gonna do the same thing. We're going to draw a square glue box. And again, this could be tape if you wanted. We're going to inch it forward. This is hard for me to do because I need to use my body to hold it and pull it at the same time. So I'm trying to keep my head out of the shot, but I may not do a very good job. I'm going to add a little more glue on this side. Okay. So I'm going to pull this forward, keeping it flat on the table, and then I'm going to bring up this panel. I wasn't ready. And I'm going to use a clip to hold it in place. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. The first one's easy because nothing's pulling on it, but when you do the second side, you're pulling the accordion apart, and so it wants to spring back on itself. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to do the same thing with my bone folders. I'm going to run it on the inside and press up and down and make sure it's grabbing everywhere. Oh, and I just realized this is going to be exposed, so we need to cover that too. Okay, so let's give that a minute to dry, and while it's drying, let's trim out a piece of paper for that. And I'm going to go with a simple existing pattern and just repeat it. I'm going to double check, but I think that's 3 inches. It is. Okay. Okay, let's see how this fits. It's almost a continuous pattern, so that's one option, and that's the other option. We could do either one. Now, having done this, I can see that I probably should have covered that too. That's only true on the back because the front's a little bit shorter. I might come back and cover that. Let's see, what do you guys think? Should I do this or the other? I kind of like this. I kind of like the continuous pattern. So let's go ahead and ink it and lay it down. Oops. So if I had it to do over again, I would have trimmed out a 2-inch strip and added it right there before I glued this last piece in. But I still can. And that looks good. Okay, so this is a very repetitive project. So the video is going to be kind of short. I did not go through and detail the covering of each one of these. I thought that was too repetitive, but also I'm anxious to get content out because it's been so long. So I thought I could really speed things up if I just showed you the finished panels. Okay, so there's our project. I'm going to take my clips off now. It should be all good in. I'm going to continue to embellish. There's the front. That's what the side looks like. And there's the back. And then when you want to use your recipes, you can open it up and it will fan out like that for you. Now the other thing I want to show you is once you select something and you want to look at it, it will stand up like an easel for you. So that is the project. I went ahead and with my leftovers trimmed out pieces to cover this side, but not the back. And I still have, so I did that for each one of these. I just haven't glued them down yet. So I'm going to share with you what's left over. And I haven't even started using the stickers or the chipboard. I will, but I haven't even started using that yet. So what I have left, what is 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 sheets left over. And in the 14 sheets, I've got cut-aparts, I've got ephemera cards, and I have pieces for every single pattern in the collection. So you're going to have, like I said, enough paper to do 2 of these projects. I think the DCE comes with 24 sheets, so we've basically used 12 of the 24. And then I also have just these bits that are left over from the 12 sheets that I cut into. So this is what's left from the first 12 sheets. And then of course I have, did I say 12 or 14 intact sheets? 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 sheets. Sorry about that. So there is a lot of paper left over. And that is already taking into consideration that I have cut out, I've ran through the die cut, a piece that I can use on the front of each one of these folders. So you would have the inside lined and the front lined, but not the back. You could still do the back, but you'd need to probably, so these are not quite 6, is that right? These are not quite 6 inches wide, so you could use one sheet, cut it in half, and cover, no, you'd need more than that, because I think it's taller than, no, you could do that with one sheet cut in half, if you wanted the backs to match on all of them. So you could do that with just adding one more sheet. And I might do that. I'm still thinking about it, and if I decide to do it, I'll show it to you in the walkthrough. But I did want to give you a quick recap of, you know, pretty much what it took to make the album and what's left over. So I'm pretty happy with the results. It's not something I normally do, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's functional. It's a great gift. It's a great Mother's Day gift, although I missed that window. But it could be a great Christmas gift too, especially if you load it up with family recipes. It would be very personal and very sentimental. So, and then the last thing is you could just use it as a kind of a unique album, and then you've got 12 slots in here. You could feature a different photo on your desktop once a month. You know, you could have your photo up here and just a small description of what was going on, and then you could rotate your photo once a month, because there's 12 slots. Now, the way this is designed, I put 12 in here. You could easily, you could not quite double it, but you could add quite a few more and keep all the same dimensions. So it's really a matter of how many of these and how many pockets you want to add. But as you saw, I was really pulling it apart. When it was compressed, it was taking up about 2 inches. When I pulled it apart to fit into the box, to stretch it, it's 3 inches now. So you could easily add probably another 6 more in here and have it not be too crowded. Okay, thanks everybody for tuning in. This is Daphne from Scrap and Create. That completes the construction of the album. For the details on the embellishments, you'll need to go back to the walkthrough for this. Like I said, I'm kind of anxious to get some content out. It's been so long. Thanks for everybody for your patience. Give me some comments or feedback in the comments about projects that are not albums. I'd love to hear what you think. And I hope you guys are having a great time and a good evening, and I'll talk to you soon.